More Greek experts on the meaning of the word parousia. Howard Marshall, for instance, he says, this word conceives of the return of Jesus to this world in visible splendor like a monarch. So Marshall links it to the idea of a royal visit. That's in his Epistles of John commentary. J.B. Mayer, who wrote, by the way, the greatest commentary in the English language on the Epistle of James 100 years ago or so, he says about this word parousia, it's the visible presence, and it's regularly used of the second coming. Alfred Plummer, in his exegetical commentary on the Gospel according to St. Matthew, Plummer says, it intimates that the return of the Messiah in glory will not result, like the first coming, in a transitory stay, but will inaugurate an abiding presence. The final event would be sudden and everywhere visible. There would be no sending of tidings that it was on its way. The Messiah would not lie hidden for a time and become gradually known. His appearance would at once carry conviction as to who he was, and there would be no need to learn this from others. The report that he was in one particular spot was enough to prove that the report was false. Lawrence Richards, in his expository dictionary of Bible words, parousia is sometimes used in a technical sense as the term for an official visit or the arrival of a person of high rank. But even when the word does not normally emphasize the person's arrival, but the fact of the person's physical presence with those to whom he or she has come. When parousia is used to describe the return of Jesus, our thoughts are directed to the fact that he will return in person. A.T. Robertson, in his Word Pictures in the New Testament, says this: the word parousia occurs in this chapter alone in the Gospels, but often in the epistles, either of presence as opposed to absence, as in Philippians 2 verse 12, or of the second coming of Christ, as in 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 1. And now verse 27, he says this, Robertson says this, as seen visible in contrast to the invisibility of the false messiahs. Stephen Smalley, in Word Biblical Commentary, says this about how the word is used in John. The primary thought in John's mind is the motivation for Christian commitment provided by the future appearance of Jesus. Joseph Thayer, in the Greek-English lexicon of the New Testament, says, in New Testament, especially of the Advent, i.e. the future visible return from heaven of Jesus, the Messiah, to raise the dead, hold the last judgment, and set up formally and gloriously the kingdom of God. Marvin Vincent on Matthew 24 verse 27 says, shineth, the coming of the Lord will be plain, unmistakable fact, like the lightning which lightens both ends of the heaven at once, and is seen of all. It will not be connected with some particular place, but will manifest itself and be recognized over the whole world. And he tells us to compare it to Revelation 1 verse 7, where it says, every eye shall see him. That's from Vincent's Word Studies of the New Testament. And finally, W.E. Vine, the great Brethren scholar, in his famous expository dictionary of New Testament words, by the way, often used by the Watchtower as a reference, Vine says this word denotes both an arrival and a consequent presence with. So we see in this summary of the positions of various Greek New Testament experts that they all disagree completely with the Watchtower's idea that parousia has something to do with an invisible presence. They use words like bright shining, visibility, royal presence with, personal presence with. Expressions like that cannot mean anything other than that he is physically, if you like, present with his people when he comes again. So we need to measure the Watchtower's credibility against this measure as well, which is, do any of the Greek experts, many of whom they often cite in their publications, agree with them about the nature of Christ's coming? And that also gets us past another hump, which is that nobody but the Watchtower teaches that Christ's coming has something to do with the renovation of this earth. No. The historical truth is that over the centuries there's been a great many Christian scholars and teachers who have held to a new heavens and a new earth in the same way the Watchtower does. The difference being that they do believe that Jesus will be present here, where the Watchtower does not. And they mean present, i.e. personally present with his saints on earth from the second coming onwards. I'll send you a PDF of this, the Parousia, according to Greek scholars. If you let us know by email, we will do that.